Pittman, one of our newer members. He did his icebreaker a few weeks ago, and it was really emotional and a very good speech. And today, he's going to deliver from the L1 of Motivational Pathway speech. His speech is titled, Lessons Learned from the Underworld. Greg Pittman.
Thank you, Alfonso, fellow Toastmasters and guests. Welcome. You know, I gave an icebreaker speech about 3 weeks ago. And from the moment of my guest introduction till about 3 months later when I gave that speech, I had thought deeply about the content, and I had visualized my form, and I had pictured my perfect posture. And then the grand moment came. Cecil had asked what the title was, and I was like, what now? There's a title? Well, come again. So with ample consideration time, it hit me early on in the formulation process, lessons learned from the underworld. Now, that implies several truths simultaneously, and the first being that there is an underworld. This is the world I lived in active hardcore drug and alcohol addiction. It's a realm that many others still live in today, and many are climbing out of on a daily basis. The other implication is that there are lessons or powerful knowledge that can be abstracted from one's time in the underworld. These are lessons I'm going to share with you now. They've helped me greatly. Lesson 1, I am capable of lying to myself. Big time! So there's denial. We're all familiar with denial. That's not news to one degree or another, for one reason or another, in one way or another. But what happens when denial twists and pushes past itself and it morphs into a form of grand self-deception, where not only am I just denying the truth, I'm now convincing myself of falsehoods that are so powerful that they would cause someone to perform and behave in the most extreme and dangerous fashions. It's something like this. I feel one of the worst things, if not the worst thing addiction does, is to an individual as they progress through the scale and spectrum of hardcore drug and alcohol addiction, is the addiction begins to tell the individual, oh, this isn't so bad. Oh, this is fun. Oh, I don't want to stop. Oh, this is all I want. This is my life. This is who I am. This is all I'll ever be. And down here, let's call this the deep end. This is a little hole in the universe dug out by me, just for me. And what does one do with that newly acquired false sense of self? Well, we hone our survival skills. So I became a better liar and a great cheater and an awesome scumbag and a deviant. I became a victim and a victimizer and a manipulator to anyone who was unfortunate enough to be in my proximity. Now, I don't say those things in any way to denigrate the addict or the individual or to glorify the past. That's simply to provide a frame of reference from then until now, from what was to what is. So how does one release themselves from the grip of this terrible form of self-denial? Well, through the help of others. So lesson 2, everyone matters. Everybody. End of period. End of story. Print it, save it, copy it, seal it. So in the deep end of the underworld, I don't matter, therefore no one else matters. Easy enough. I was fortunate to come across individuals that I didn't know, some strangers, maybe some family members, who through their altruistic actions, their warmth, their generosity of time, their compassionate nature, had convinced me that maybe I mattered. And they seemed to matter. They had a sense of self and success that I couldn't comprehend, but maybe I mattered and they seemed to matter. So the next question is, do some of us matter? Or do some of us maybe matter? And when I had asked myself this alone, the answer came very, very strong and hard, and it hit. Well, no, we all matter. Everything you do matters, and everything I say and do matters. We all matter. Everyone in this room matters, and everyone outside this room matters. So lesson 3, life is hard. It's really hard. Now, this isn't new also. There's some fundamental truths of living that I just never grasped. I couldn't comprehend before. And I become elated when I'm hit and imbued with this knowledge. So it's something like, hey, I bet humanity has no clue about what I just learned, and it's that life is suffering. It's what philosophers have been discussing for years and years and years. It's what every major religion has been teaching, and it's what every human has experienced over and over and over. There's death. I'm going to die. You're going to die. Everyone we know is going to die. There's disease. There's tragedy. There's still evil and malevolence we have to contend with as human beings. So yeah, life is suffering. I thought that there was something intrinsically wrong with me. So it turns out there's nothing wrong with any of us, and there's nothing insurmountable about being. So that slides us over to the meta lesson involved. Well, if the mind is fragile, so we know the fragility of it, it can turn on itself at any moment, and we can disregard self in others, and that life is infinitely painful, well, the lesson learned is that we can transcend our suffering. We can rise above ourselves, and we can live outside the underworld successfully. We can reach back in and help those in the underworld. I'll leave you with this. There are no mistakes in life. There's only lessons, and the lessons are repeated until they're learned. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster.